How does this thing work? Just kidding. Hey, welcome to Burnt Offerings. COVID can't stop us. Rain. We got guys running compressors here. It doesn't matter. We're here for you guys every Tuesday at noon, no matter what. Come hell or high water. So we got our gentleman launderer here and the rest of these guys that you know from last week. So here we go. I want to apologize because we're going to have Judge on and Zoom with him, so you had a split screen. And after all, Burnt Offerings is us unpacking his verse of the day that he does every day that you all look forward to. So, Judge, my apologies. Technology has just got us handcuffed, and hopefully the Wi-Fi doesn't crash again. It's rebooted twice today already here at this office. Yeah, I don't know, something's going on. So anyway, welcome.
Yep, welcome. By the way, also do us a favor and share this to your newsfeed and your story. I'm doing that right now. It's an opportunity to bless some guys. Marios is on with us, by the way, from Seattle.
Hey, David. He's traveling. I think he's traveling for the company. I'm not sure. But
I hope so, because he just outed himself. So.
He did. Well, no, I know he's not here, but I'm not sure if it's business or personal travel.
Welcome from Seattle. I mean, COVID quarantine.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get it out there. Luke chapter 16, verse 10. It's from Judge's Daily Devotional, what he had this morning. And it says, whoever can be trusted with very little, this is Jesus talking, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. So, good stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, if you like that translation.
Oh, if you like, is there a translation you memorized?
Do you have
it's classic.
What's taking you off about that?
No, what's funny is I used to make fun of the King James guys when I first became a believer and started getting into the Bible. And and then I realized I'm NIV 84. I'm stuck in 1984, that translation, which is, he who is faithful with little is faithful with much.
Right.
Yeah. So
that rolls.
I think nice. The alliteration, honestly, is every translation, they seem to lose some of the poetry, the alliteration, which is fine if you don't make it do that, but it's okay that it has that. Now they're just getting it down to just very radio instructions.
What was the translation when we read my favorite verse, and it was, short and sweet, it's great, it's my favorite verse, Galatians 6:9. And then someone else read it, and like 5 minutes later, they finished.
Yes.
Was that amplified?
We're trying to be so, it was Dustin Henry.
Yeah.
It was like a 9-minute.
Yeah, a 9-minute version.
Where's the pancakes?
Right.
Well, when you're eating pancakes with Jesus in the morning, I'm like, we don't need that. It's okay.
So it's amplified. So I wonder what the amplified
even
version.
New
Anybody have
NIV
that?
does say bags of gold instead of talents. And again, I guess if you're reading the Bible for the first time, you want them to get it. But I'm like, dang it, just put an asterisk or something and say, check on the bottom.
I want to know I want to know the amplified, the Breakfast with Jesus version sounds like. While we look that up.
Yeah, that's good.
It ought to be a good one if we have enough time to read
So
it.
this is why we take multiple takes, because we just spent about 5 minutes talking about nothing.
It's worth it. It's worth it. It's translation.
Talking about nothing.
It's in the details,
It's
Scott.
This is like Seinfeld.
The nothing is what this is about.
It's a show about nothing is right, but it is
It
people
is, right.
people who are reading their Bible and saying, why did that sound different than mine?
Well, we should change the name to Burnt Nothings.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I like
Well,
it.
if it's like
I
my
like
day, I barely got here to turn
We're
this
still
on.
talking about nothing.
We are, but that's important because guys are lighting a cigar and getting your Bible, grabbing a little lunch, and reading along with
This
us.
is Luke 16:9, right?
does not
Is it Luke
do
16:9?
much.
It's about the same.
It doesn't do anything. Amplified doesn't add or take.
I think it's Luke 16:9.
Well, let's go ahead and read it out loud
16:10.
one more time
16:10.
since we did nothing
16:10.
for 10 minutes.
Whoever can be trusted with very little, this is Jesus speaking, can
Is
also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will be dishonest with much. So it's saying that whatever you do with a little, you're going to do with a lot.
So,
It's funny so I'm going to keep being the nerd. I want to know, I'm like, well, why are they taking this liberty to change faithful into trusted? Similar word, but it is pistos, which is the word where we get the root for faith. So it
pissed off.
that's me. I'm pissed off about the pistos.
pissed off.
So trustworthy
Christoph
or
has a good
faithful.
cigar.
But literally that one word they're translating is he is or whoever, because it's implied in the Greek, which is fine. So I was just curious. So it works. You're getting the Bible. You're getting an accurate translation. They picked a word that is also fine.
Yeah,
Gets the job done.
It would
Fine.
be, it's all pretty close to the same. We'd change it if we said, do what you want with
Right.
much, do with what you
Right.
want with a little, it's all the same.
Right.
That would be changing it.
I always like saying when I preach, I'm like, listen, I had a year and a half of Greek, and those 300 world famous Greek scholars don't know what they're talking about. So,
I immediately thought of before when I was at someone's house. I don't even remember what company. Oh, it was Gottschalk's back in the day. That was way back. Like I was in
Don't know
high
what it is.
school, college. It's a
Gottschalk's.
clothing store. But
80s
anyway,
probably.
wow. I'm at this guy's house and we're talking, and out comes this something. It was like a stapler, but we had a way of marking them at Gottschalk's, and I'm like, "You got the stapler from work?" Yeah, we got tons of them. I go, well, no, the company does. I go, he goes, oh, it's nothing.
It's not a big
I
deal.
give extra, and he goes, and I got these boxes of paper clips. And I was like, well, okay. So he goes, but I would never take money or nothing big, but this is nothing. I go, well, wait a second. Are you saying you have a price? To me, your price was a box of paper clips.
Right.
If you're willing to basically,
Yeah, where's your zero line?
yeah,
Yeah.
your integrity
Sure,
was
like,
worth
yeah,
a box of paper clips. But I know. I mean, how many millions are you gonna stack on the table before I compromise?
Yeah.
So
that's
I'm
pretty much.
I'm
What's
sure.
the
I've
paperclip
got a
number?
Yeah.
That is
Yeah, I'm
compromising.
thinking of a number right now.
I'm gonna use this in a sermon. What's the paperclip number?
What?
Now it's stealing.
How many office supplies would you take home to compromise your soul?
Yeah.
But no, people don't think of that. It's like,
No.
oh, it was extra this. It was that other half of the glue I was using.
Right.
Whatever, right? It's
But
nothing.
if the handbook titles that as pilfering, if it actually has a designated term inside which it does, employee handbooks always say that's pilfering. It's illegal. You're stealing.
Yeah.
If somebody has said even taking that pen is pilfering or stealing from the company, it's stealing.
It's
We already
illegal.
know that, but I mean the companies are actually saying no, you're stealing.
I make sure and order as much stuff as we can with the company names on it because they want you to hand that out. So I mark it.
You market it.
I got a whole box of
Our
marketing
legacy
pencils,
on
pens, rulers, stack of hats I don't need for another. No, I don't.
Isn't that the-
I'm just kidding. Anybody
Your
from the
$20
office?
bills have legacy logos on them.
No. No, but seriously, we think that a little's not that. It's not that big a deal. I even have a problem, and I know this isn't where the verse is, but I've had some family members that will like clean out the packets of sugar and all this stuff and the condiments, and one actually took the little baby salt and pepper shakers because they're like nothing like, and I'm like going, well, those aren't for you to take. No, we're paid for our meal. Those are here. on
Those
the
are here,
table."
right, right.
And they take it home, stacks of it. It's like.
Yeah.
It's always a way to validate it.
Yeah.
And of course, we all know if you've been on any sailing trips, this would be a perfect point to
Talking about
burn.
the Will.
Will.
Yeah, he took a
Ryan.
bottle of Cholula.
No, wait, I wasn't gonna say it.
I gave the punchline.
You
too
don't.
soon.
I just wanted to say, Will, it doesn't go away when you
right.
compromise yourself.
It becomes
It's there forever.
it lives in infamy on Facebook.
Well, and he was coaxed into that. And I think he
It
gave
didn't
into peer
take
pressure.
much to pocket a bottle of Cholula.
Right.
What's up, Judge? What's up,
So-
man? I just
But
want to
he's
say
never
hi.
let that down.
No.
Jason was going to say something. I'm curious, what were you going to say?
I just remember as a kid, my dad and mom always telling me, I would work, get a little bit of allowance, or I would do something for a neighbor, get $10, small amount, and then I would want to go to the store and buy candy bars, or I'd want to go to some place and spend it, and they would be like, "Why are you just going to waste it? Why don't you save it?" I go, "No, I don't need to save it. I'll save money later when I have a job." And they would always tell me, "What you do with a little, you're going to do with much." And sure enough, because I learned at a young age to start saving, because I actually got it through my head, okay, the candy bar is not worth spending $10 on candy bars. I actually started saving it. It became a part of who I was when I actually had a job. Whereas I do see people, and I know people, where they get a paycheck, they spend a paycheck, they get a paycheck, they spend a paycheck. And so what you do with a little, you do with a lot, because we always say, right, if I just had a little more money, if I just had a little more of this, if I just had a little more of that, then I would actually start giving it to other people.
Right.
Or I would actually start tithing if
You
I
guys
just had a
can
little
you
more.
guys can use a current deal for your sermons and bring this in with Robinhood. I mean, obviously Robinhood's from the Lord. It
That's right.
teaches
Right.
people to invest in little increments, right?
And today, Jason
Praise
owns a
God
candy
for
manufacturing
Robinhood.
company. Yes, I do.
And just so you know, he said $10 in candy. We did not give him $10 of allowance every week. That didn't happen.
That's
I
what
don't
I was
remember
saying.
how much he got, but there's no way it was 10.
I love that you felt that need to be clarified.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Whoa, just so you know, we weren't wealthy.
Whoa!
Well, you know, when your
I don't want to
paycheck-
waste my money.
Hey.
Let me give you a more convicting illustration and see. And I'm not judging you. It's one of the ones I hear people do all the time. I'm not judging. Jailbreaking a Fire Stick.
Oh shoot!
So people jailbreak Fire Sticks all the time, right? And
Oh,
they're
you're
all
talking
like,
about the things for like streaming.
Yeah,
Back in the
and-
day, getting your cable box
for
done
free,
was
it's the
only
same
$50.
concept.
Black
People
box.
do that,
You know,
or sharing,
you were told.
or sharing a Netflix password.
Friend told me.
Because people do that because one
Okay.
person they give you five. They give you five, so they say, okay,
Oh, they
so
do?
share your net, yeah,
Okay.
and you get so they just give
Good to
5 of
know.
those. He's like,
So
they
if
pay
I-
for
that.
that.
Good to know.
So if I sold the other four,
I'm
I'm
wasting my money.
wasting
No, you're a businessman. It's like saving. You're a businessman. So I'm just asking, like, so we're talking about faithful little, faithful much. We're talking about the things where I just took a few pens. What about the jailbreaking the Fire Stick? What about
your phone.
or your phone? Whatever you know, whatever. I think the Fire Stick's the one I hear people do the most, pretty normally.
Yeah.
Or before it used to be like. Getting free music, like downloading illegal
Yeah.
downloading
Oh, yeah,
music
right.
or
Yeah.
illegal downloading.
Napster.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about that stuff? Like,
Because some people get hung up on, the verse when one of the servants actually took the money and buried it. Because I guess it was because of his intent, but burying is pretty good. At least you didn't lose any of it, right? But
he got pretty chastised
Yeah,
for
no,
doing
he
that.
did.
That didn't turn out so
I
well
just
for
said,
him.
it's because, wasn't it in
I
that
think
verse?
he got thrown out where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Yeah,
Really
yeah,
did.
yeah.
I always wanted there to be a fourth guy where he tried and lost everything.
He lost it all, but
I wanted that guy. I wanted to be like what you said.
I bought lottery tickets.
Yeah, that's right.
I was gonna set you up,
That's
boss.
right.
I spent all my talent
All right,
on
so
lottery
now we
tickets.
set a record for talking about nothing.
No,
Okay,
no,
so
no,
we got
no.
someone
It's
look
Zoe
up-
something.
Someone also, before we get to it, look up Judge.
Judge just said
his
hello, guys,
answer.
by the way.
Judge,
Hello,
because Judge, he
Yeah,
gives
let's
his
do the
version. I don't have the phone, so I can't do it.
Way to avoid that Fire Stick. Okay,
I
go
don't have
ahead.
Facebook, so.
No, but let's go back
We
to
just
it.
kept all of our
Look at it
friends
right
off the
now. I
hook.
got
So
it.
let's go back to the
We just let all of our
Avoiding the
friends
Fire
off the
Stick
hook.
question.
I know a ton of people that do the Fire Stick, and I have not judged them. I really haven't, but I'm always like,
But you
this
would never
verse,
Right. So
this verse, I'm convicted by it. I'm not even saying they're bad. I personally have wanted to do it like 10 times. Like, you know what? I can't do it. I can't
Yeah.
pull the trigger. I don't know. For me, it's too convicting.
I was actually going to talk to you about that.
I actually have used my son's student's version of stuff.
Oh,
So now
Amazon
you get
Prime.
because it's
Apple
almost
software.
nothing. You get a Hulu account. My buddy,
You get 4. I'm
All
telling
right,
you, 5
so
sign-ins.
this is how Judge applied it. He
Yeah,
said,
let's see.
God teaches us to trust in Him and each other. Interesting. Be that brother who can be trusted with everything. So in other
I
words,
like that.
he personalized it like, hey, I should be able to be trusted with your stuff and your stuff and your stuff and your stuff, and I should be able to trust you with my stuff too.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So if my
Yeah.
wife goes over to your house, and my wife's really good looking. If my wife comes over to your house, I should be able to trust her in your presence, right?
Dude, I thought you were going to say that trust that she wouldn't steal something from you.
Yeah, what the
He
heck?
goes for the
My
good
wife is
What
this.
in the
My wife
world?
is she will not take even a little thing.
Wow.
She
I
is
hope
like
not.
super. She's got more integrity than anybody I know with the little things.
Wasn't this, so Judge, by the way, said, come on, guys, a little or a lot makes no difference.
It does.
Right,
You're
right.
Especially as a judge, right?
Compromise is a compromise.
Yeah.
And
right?
it is, and it's funny.
Were you speeding only 10 miles over?
That's a good one, too, because I'm like,
no,
I'm like-
only 10, only 10.
I'm like there because that's one of those ones where, and I know you could go get pulled over for 1 mile an hour over, but all of us would be like,
Come on.
Really, dude?
We
We'd
know
all be
the
like,
rule.
come on.
It's 10 miles over.
There's
having a
some
bad day.
grace in that one. There's some flex in
And
that
there is
dynamic.
grace in that. There's called a grace period.
It's their option.
Even for like if your payment on your house,
Or
your
your
car,
gym.
or whatever
5
is due
days.
on the 1st, there's a grace period that if you don't pay it by the 7th or 10th, then you're charged a late fee,
Yeah.
right? So I think even in some of the stuff there may be some grace applied, but it's more the principle of how. I mean, what's your character like?
Yeah.
And
That's
are
a
you,
good question.
right?
That's the
What's your
right
character
Not
like?
did you
very
jailbreak a fire stick.
Yeah.
But just think about your character. Just think through your character, and then now what am I going to do?
Because that
That's
could be
simple.
just considered creative and not.
You know, somebody could say like, well, there actually isn't a law against it. They sell the fire
No,
sticks.
there
They do it.
is, yeah.
I'm just saying. Somebody in their mind. I'm just
I
trying.
think you could get,
I'm just saying.
You could get crazy with this. Like, you talk about the paperclip thing, and you go, "Oh, I need a paperclip to do something. You know, tie something up in my car." And you take one from work, and you go and you tie it up in your car, and you go, "Oh, I stole a paperclip," and now you feel guilty about that. Well, maybe, but I think that's a little over the top, right?
Well, if you're being convicted,
Then maybe you should stop.
one person might be convicted by the Holy Spirit, the next person
good,
may
right?
not.
They might
So,
say, no,
okay.
part of my job, they like me, they would be okay with this. My boss
Eric
would
would
be fine with it.
say, what a ridiculous question, don't ever ask me
Just
again.
Yeah,
Take
hey,
paper
you know
clips.
what? Here, have 2 boxes of paper clips.
Yeah. But you've given
I
them
did
authority
like-
to do that.
I did like the paper clip threshold. At what number?
Yeah.
You play like you practice.
Yeah, I think there's something to that for sure.
For sure.
For
sure. I
It's,
think like that.
it's
a lot.
literal, right? I mean, it's in the little things. You just magnify it, like what you said.
Yeah.
Do you save when you have a little tiny bit? Because then if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to wait till I have a lot of money and then I'm going to save, that's not your character.
Yeah.
You don't do that. Because you could, at any time you could be saving, at any time you could be faithful, at any
Right.
time you could not
Right.
take things or
Yeah.
Well,
and to
I
Judge's
don't know.
point, for me, it's like, let's say you had a buddy and your buddy came to you and he confided in you about something simple, something minor. Hey, I got an fender bender yesterday, you know. But then you go and you then share that with a bunch of people, and then your buddy finds out that you shared with a bunch of people he got an fender bender. He's probably thinking, well, yeah, it's not the end of the world, but still, I kind of confided in you about this.
Not gonna
I would
do
have
that
liked to
again.
have been the one to share it
Right.
and not have become a joke. He's not now going to come to you when his marriage is on the rocks.
Right.
He's not going to trust in you about that.
This
So-
is great.
So that's where I go with this. If you can't be trusted with the little things in a relationship with a brother,
With
why in the world would
information.
why would they ever come to you with the big things?
I think a lot
That's
of people
good.
talk about, finances,
Right.
or your
That's where
assets.
my
or
mind
interest.
goes.
Right.
Mhm.
But it's information.
Yeah.
Mine
It's with
technically.
friendships. I mean, that means only so many people are going to actually get to hold government secrets because you got that means everything below that you
Yeah.
got to be really good at. Yeah, you got to be like a vault.
Mm.
And I don't know. I usually end up telling my wife, maybe not details because I want her to actually, but in some instances, tell her certain things so we can stay connected and it's not like my entire life outside of the
Sure.
evening moments I have with her that are we're still connected. Plus, if I told her she wouldn't like any of my friends if I actually shared it. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
I still want her to get along with y'all, right? So I can't really say
There
too
is,
much. But
I wonder why
secrets-
she was giving me the evil eye
That's
on
right.
Sunday.
Yeah,
It's
it's because your microphone wasn't working. It was really it was like fingernails on a chalkboard. It was terrible. But anyway.
I saw this verse and I applied it. So I walked on my college basketball team, and we would do these drills, and you have to run the length of the court, suicides, and you had to touch your foot on the line. So some guys didn't; they just missed the line by a few inches. Not wrong. They weren't cheating. The coach could see it. I couldn't let myself not
No.
touch that line.
Yeah.
Me too.
I literally thought, and this verse would come to mind. It's like, and I literally had a little phrase. I'm like, if I don't touch that line, I'm cheating myself and I'm cheating my team.
I do it.
That literally was in my. I couldn't, and I just thought that's just the way. It's the right thing to do, and it wasn't a matter of right and wrong,
And
but it
that
was a
is a
little
little
faithful
thing,
thing. But
and
it was
it's
like
quirky.
I made sure my foot touched that stupid line every single time for 3 years.
So let me ask you a question then. Is exaggeration?
I did that this
Is
morning.
exaggeration? Can you apply that here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's my phone, and it shows how many steps or miles I walk. And I always say I walk 4 miles in the morning, but the reality is I walk 3.8 miles. But I just round it up like
Figure it
it's
out.
It's
You
4
walk
point.
in
It's 4
circles.
miles, right? Now, come on, it's 4 miles.
Isn't that how you count on Sundays?
Yeah. We have 1,000 in church on Sunday.
That's called
Pastor
pastor
County.
math.
Pastor Matt, they say all the time. I don't know. There's like
Count the
3
dogs
or
that show
300
up.
people there.
Well,
I know
there's,
somewhere.
well, I know that so-and-so's wife wasn't there, but she would have been there.
They're watching
So
online.
And they're going to talk
That's
about
right.
it when they get home and have lunch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know there are churches in town that count everybody that watches online as that's
Ooh.
their church attendance.
Hey,
Isn't that
you
funny?
know-
that's the good stuff. Like we'd all be like.
So that's why
"Wait, what?"
people don't trust, like,
But-
when you have a magazine or something, they call it what, the pass-through rate, right? I know we dealt with this stuff
Oh, yeah.
on some things like
Pastor, what?
or the
Pass-through.
pass-through rate. So
Never heard
like,
of it.
Oh,
What's
yeah,
pastor?
yeah,
Don't know-
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know
really,
what that
like,
is.
you know, so
Yeah.
he might have printed 10,000 books, but that book's going to get read by 4.5 people.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
So now you're like, what? Now you're like
That's
40,000.
hilarious.
Is that how they decide this, the New York bestseller?
No,
Yeah, no, not
No,
that one.
it's-
No.
it's-
That's
Side
purchasing.
ad rates.
it's
That's-
But
okay.
newspapers-
purchased in a 1 week period actually.
In fact, how people do it, they'll actually say, well, I placed this magazine in a dentist office.
Yes.
That's not going anywhere. Okay, and they have about this many people a day, and out of the
Oh,
number.
really?
It's like, oh, yeah.
So
it's
that's
so
how
it's
they
your
decide
circulation.
advertising costs or whatever.
Well,
right?
when
And
you
inflates
say-
the distribution decreases your cost per
So you
dollar.
want to
Okay.
say what's your distribution, not your circulation, because circulating
Oh, yeah.
means it's circulating
That's a
around,
huge
and it's a huge number. They only printed, 300
But if it's in one
copies.
dentist office,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I learned something
So
new
that's
today.
cheating,
And nothing to do with the
lying.
Bible.
No,
So
it does.
that
It has to do
counts
with
as
this.
nothing?
Yeah.
What's that?
That doesn't count as nothing.
Yeah, it counts
because
as
you
pretty
just-
much nothing. Well, no, it's not nothing, but it's close to nothing.
It applies.
There's
I
very
think
little
it's,
value.
I think this is perfect.
What you do with very little information, you'll do with a lot of information.
You know what's funny is that
Ignore it.
Yeah.
You ignore both. All right. Get us back on track.
no,
please,
this is
Pastor
on
Joe.
track. This is the whole point of this talk.
Hold on, all right,
This is great.
6 more minutes of
So,
nothing coming
Does
at
this-
you.
Let me ask you guys, does this have to do with reap what you sow? Because
Well, I think there are
that
ramifications.
scripture, 2 Corinthians, actually says, sow little, reap little.
Okay,
Okay,
so let's
so
take
a lot.
That's the reverse, right?
Reap a lot.
Is that the reverse of this?
No, I think it's right on
Or
with
mirror?
what Frank is
Similar.
saying and what Judge said. Because I hadn't thought about Judge. He
Not me.
applied it personally to relationships.
Yeah.
Apply what you just said to how you react with the friend and stuff. That friendship, that's not going to be deep. It's not going to grow. If you're not handling things right
Yeah.
in the little ways in that friendship, is
I
that what
think
you're talking about?
doing the little
Yeah.
steers your character and builds your character.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a time when I didn't have money to buy groceries. I had maybe $40, and I gave that money to somebody in need 10, 15 years ago. Those steps now are part of who I am, so when I have some now, I still give it. So it seems like it's that scripture and the reap what you sow scripture are saying train your character.
Okay.
This is how you train your character.
I'm sorry. I always think of stupid stuff. But simultaneously, he was a frequent volunteer at the Paparello house.
Volunteer?
Yeah, because afterwards you get to eat. You help us, do the Holy Eclipse, and then you eat. So right? No.
That's my total motivation. was
I gave away my
mass
last
produced
dollar.
spaghetti.
I gave
Because
away
it's
all
so
my
good.
money.
The kind of spaghetti where you take a little bit and 2 feet comes out. Oh, it's
Yeah,
so
I
good.
hate to take your awesome, profound words and make a stupid joke. So this is sincere apology.
I can't remember
I'm
if
a jerk.
I shared this before or not, but we were having a discussion in our house, and we had that time there a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old and a couple of our twins that are 17, and we were all talking about giving money and being generous, and the 19-year-old thinks he's going to be a millionaire out of college, and he says, well, when I graduate, I'm going to have a 6-figure job, and I think it's immoral to have a lot of money. If you have a lot of money, it's immoral. So we asked, well, what's a lot of money? Anything over $250,000 a year, that's a lot of money. Wow. At least your goals are really high, right?
Yeah.
And
Now, is that individual or family?
no, that's just individual.
Okay, I'm just
Right.
checking.
So then he said, we said,
Never
well,
gross.
Yeah.
well, what do you do with if you're going to make over Yeah, I'll make well over $250,000. Well, what are you going to do with that extra money? I'm going to give it away. I'm just going to give away anything over $250,000 a year. I'm going to give that away, which is really noble.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But then the 21-year-old daughter, she said this. She said, well, I won't say his name. Well,
Dude.
So and
Or
so.
brother.
Dude.
my brother whom I love, how much do you give now? He said, well, I don't give anything. You don't give any money away? No. Well, what makes you think you're going to give a lot of money away when you make a lot of money, when you give nothing, when you don't make very much? And that's the scripture.
That's it. That's it.
She said what? And she said what Jason said, because I've taught them all similar, is that what you do with a little, you're going to do with a lot.
Yeah. It's good. I realize, I mean, it fits in so many, because it is starting with root and foundation. Who you are is what you're going to do. Is what he's getting at. You know what I mean? Like, if you're this person when nobody's looking, if you're this person when you have a little, even as something as simple as, this sounds really funny, but we had got married, we had a little dog, and I was a terrible dog owner. I was just very firm on my, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was almost like I was parenting my dog the way my dad, and it really struck me that I thought, I need to be different because I'm going to have kids. So I changed my ways based on, I'm doing a bad job with my dog.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to do a bad job with my kids. And it really did, because I thought, hey, you have, like, you
This
have,
was an ugly dog.
it was adorable, actually.
Oh, it was
It was,
adorable?
yeah, it was little Westie.
You are
So
the
I
worst.
felt bad. I was like, I
Are you
needed
saying
to
your
change.
kids did well in a crate?
Yeah. Crate trained. All my
Crate
children
trained
are all
everyone,
crate
and
trained.
didn't beat one of them.
Yeah, not at all.
All right, this is what Dave says. David Barrios says, it's like the millionaires that will give away stuff when they die. No sacrifice.
Oh,
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so
wow,
I-
no
I-
kidding. It's like Undead Anyway. Here it all is.
Yes.
And they want their name on it.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I
that
like
was
that.
a great
Little library.
That was a great. Who said that?
David Barrios.
I think
David
that's
Barrios.
great. That's a great idea.
The
And-
wisdom from that man.
Oh, and isn't it true that we oftentimes want to be generous out of our abundance, but not so generous out of our need?
Yeah.
Right? But what you were sharing is that you actually were generous in your time of need, which speaks to your character.
Yeah.
Well, we also want to define resources as just money,
It's time too, right?
time,
Talents.
what you've got, yeah, all time, talent, gifts.
And this could easily lead into legalism too. So it's a
Totally.
Isn't that weird? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can get legalistic. Like,
One
Jesus and the disciples ate the bread out of the temple. That wasn't theirs. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's not for them to eat, but they did. You know what I mean? Like, it was this very interesting
David
dynamic.
stole bread, consecrated bread.
Yeah,
out of
see, the
temple.
showbread,
Yeah.
David,
He's-
for his
He
men.
stole it,
Yeah. Right.
and
So-
he's yet praised for
How
it.
does willpower come into any of this? Because I'm also thinking of things like people working out and what it takes to a little. We know what we want. We all see the end goal, but we
Yeah.
don't necessarily do the little things to get to the end, like eating or not eating with dieting.
Sure.
And
I think-
peanut M&Ms. Is
I
that
think
yours?
I lean towards
Oh, I love
the
those.
legalistic side,
2 hours
probably in that regard.
5-pound bag is
Because
good.
I look at if I'm going to, I'm exercising. If I give myself one day off, it's too easy to take 2 days off.
This-
Oh,
this-
so
these,
true.
these are examples when it's
Dude.
not right or wrong. It's just now
It
we've
becomes an
taken this.
obsession at that
We
point.
make things right or wrong.
Right.
Almost like,
I think that's-
no, I'm faithful little,
I
faithful
feel
much.
guilty if
Yeah.
No,
that's
Scott,
not
that's
okay.
Scott, that's a healthy choice. You need a
It is a
recovery-
healthy
you
choice.
need recovery
Yeah.
time for your body.
But I want
Yeah.
French fries right now.
Oh, French fries.
French
that's
fries,
good.
and I'll just walk an extra
You just walk.
0.2 miles.
There you
All right,
go.
so how do we do practical application? How can we start doing the little things? I mean, you're good at like with these kind of questions. How do we use this verse? I mean,
Well, we got
other
1
than
minute to
feeling
apply.
guilty, well, we started. Yeah, maybe we're done. But seriously, you guys, any?
Figure out how to apply
Tips?
it.
How
For
can
me, it is simply paying attention to the little things and being faithful in them.
Yeah.
Just whatever that is, my time, I won't steal anything. I'm like,
But will you do that in public, or
Yes, both.
or do you keep it in private? These things, like.
what do you
Because
mean?
it's a commitment. So would you
Uh-huh.
share with your son, hey, I'm going to start doing this.
Yes.
Keep me accountable.
Yeah, I would do that if it's something like I took a break from smoking cigars.
Oh, is that what's going on?
No, not now.
Oh.
But
That was last week.
I'm past that.
No.
But I took a break from smoking cigars. And
Broke.
I told Jackie, hey, I'm taking a break from smoking cigars for a couple of weeks. And I said, hold me accountable. So then when there was a moment I was feeling weak, like, man, I just want to go in the backyard and have a cigar. I would tell her, I just want to go and have a cigar. And she would say, you can, that's totally
good.
fine. But I knew by the inflection of her
Oh my
voice it
gosh,
meant
yes.
Yeah.
I'd be really disappointed.
I guess what you shared with me meant nothing. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
If you want to be a bad person, smoke a cigar.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anybody else? How do you apply? How do you do it? What would you do?
I think I do think it's a mix of knowing the difference between faithful little and dishonest, right and wrong, parsing that, and exercising. Like, try not to let those be the same thing. Like, if you're gonna be faithful little, like, think through, am I just taking some stuff from work and thinking it's no big deal? That's something to take very seriously.
Yeah.
And then actually maybe think through grace when you're thinking about exercise and eating junk food.
Yeah.
I think one needs a little more grace, and one's like, no, this one's a big deal. This one's a character issue. This one's I'm a little obsessed. You know,
Yeah,
like
right.
sure. Know the difference.
With the paper clips, you have this inconvenient third commandment, depending on third or seventh commandment, don't steal.
Right.
Right? That sucks.
This is a little verse, and it's sort of between you and God, and you expect the things you're going to do, then He's going to help you in the bigger things. But don't we kind of know without asking or knowing super details about our friends? Like, could you name the ones you would trust with big things because you've seen how they are with the little things?
Yeah, and that's how I apply this. Is I want to be that person. I want to be the friend that's trusted with a lot.
Probably also easier to make a quick list in your mind of the ones that you wouldn't trust with
Yeah.
some big deal.
Should I start listing them right now?
This verse,
They're not in the room.
a couple verses down, it actually goes on to say, if you have not been trustworthy with someone else's property, who will give you property of your own? And the idea is, the passage is saying there are earthly ramifications to this. So it's not so much as simple as, I'm just taking some paper clips, no big deal, or I have low character in certain areas, no big deal. Jesus is saying it actually will affect later.
Yes.
Like, it actually bleeds into your life, and other people can see it. So you think my little dishonesty, it's just between me and God. And I think what Jesus is saying is, no, believe it or not, that little dishonesty starts getting into other areas, and it's visible.
Yeah.
And people can see it. So I would even say, you want to evaluate this in your life, because you think it is just you who sees it. But the reality is, more than likely, most people can see it in you.
And it affects other things in the relationship. If you ever try to get with them or help them,
Yeah.
probably the last one they'll go to. Well, so that was a pretty much equal amount of
Nonsense
and a little bit
I
of
think that's
wisdom,
great.
maybe,
So
or
we
at
did,
least some smart
we
aleck.
did something with the little.
We did a lot, yeah. So
I thought it was great.
anyway, share this because guys tend to comment and watch it for weeks.
All
I've
right.
said it before, but we get 800.
It doesn't matter. Don't exaggerate.
At least
Well,
a
no, I was
thousand.
trying to think
You
of the
can
one
round
I
up
saw.
that easy to
I've
1,000.
only
Yeah.
seen 1,000 views on one, and it wasn't even that great. I watched it again.
We
I,
get over
I watched it
1,000.
8 times to get the number up. But no, I didn't. But anyway, share it.
992.
And thank you. And also, if you're looking for a cigar smoking Bible study that meets, there's a whole bunch of them. Those are called Holy Smokes. So reach out to us on here. We can get you some information. But Burnt Offerings will be here every week, 12 noon on Tuesday.
See ya. Read some of these comments. Judge had some good ones at the end there. Check those out.
Nice.
What's up to my big brother Vince? who's
Thanks,
watching.
guys.